Do, do, do. And I'm just too messy. Oh, I'm on the wrong set. Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. Sound. Sound rolling. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? It's time to wake up now. Good morning, everybody. It's time to wake up now. I hope you're awake. I'm good, Neil. How are you? Getting a little sweaty here. Good morning, Pep. Good morning, peace. Pepper and peace, love. Good morning. Good morning, Baltimore. There's the drunk on a stool by the door. Well, I think it came our way, Neil, which is fine. I don't even know what the temperature is, but it feels a little bit sweaty. Feels a little bit sweatier this morning. Carla. Good morning, Lolo's Lounge. Na 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 na. Wow, it's really not that warm. It's like 60. That's really not that warm. I think my fucking camera's like fucked up. Hold on. Eh, eh. There we go. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I want it to be perfect. Good morning, Baltimore. There's a drunk on the stool by the door. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta tell you, Pepper, I saw that one part too. Gotta love a misogynist in full sovereign coverage foundation. Yeah, he's so secure. No, I saw that. And if, for those of you who might not have seen it, Pete Hegseth was asked a question about why he uses terms like boys and bombers when there were female pilots as part of the mission. And in typical Pete fashion, he got real mad about being called out on what a fucking asshole he is. And if there's anything this administration is good at, it's deflecting the I'm an asshole. And so that is everything. That moment to me, Pepper, this morning was almost everything that's wrong with this country. Almost everything that's wrong. Yeah, tantrums. Yeah, anything he attributes to being a female, which is weird, but whatever. Typical. Is really what describes him. Oh. And I don't know. Again, this is this whole thing about, using characteristics as slurs, right? Using the fact that he thinks, I don't know, Badge, the fact that he thinks that that people, the fact that he thinks that that is the biggest drama, that this, I'll find it. Let me find the clip because it was pretty fucking. I'm gonna do it. You know what? Against my better judgment. Because I think I want these. I just want these examples to be like in people's minds. When you're with that MAGA, you have to stand next to. We have a few things this morning, so let me end some things to read too. But I'm too messy. And I know, no, 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 do 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 do. Na 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 na. I'm messy. That's not okay. Whatever. Okay, whatever. God, it's his. Wait. I need to do the Pentagon news conference. Na 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 na. Man, come on. Come on. Come on. Maybe I won't. Okay, I'm just gonna. This is terrible, but I don't want to talk about this guy because now I'm sad. Let me go back because this is where I saw it. It was near the end. You're gonna have to see Steve. Okay, Steve Lookner is in this.
Based on the
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Is that okay? All right. Sorry, I'm stealing Steve's clip here, but it's just because I have to. Oh, damn it. I guess I can't do that. I have to move the whole window. Okay, that's fine. Cause I'm too messy. Na, 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 na. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry. I just need to hear this misogynistic motherfucker. Hold on. That link is the clip regarding not mentioning female pilots. What link? Which link?
success of our warriors, hold them up, tell their stories, celebrate that, wave an American flag, be proud of what we accomplished. And in the meantime, I can assure you, the chairman and his staff, the intelligence community, our staff and others are doing all the assessments necessary to make sure that mission was indeed successful.
Yeah, D-Day was pretty easy, though, when you think about it, Neil. Come on. Land on a beach and run? Oh.
That their nuclear program was indeed severely damaged, but they also said that the U.S. strikes only strengthened their ability and their determination to complete.
They're months away, I guess.
Program. How do you respond to
oh,
that,
I think
sir?
his wife does it.
Well, I would say Iran's
I mean, what's to
gonna have say
do?
a lot of things right
Really,
now
Neil?
in order to
What's to do?
bolster their image,
I don't know.
especially internally. You know, in the media, there's a lot of
Just like
things,
we do?
They'll say for
Just like
domestic
we do?
consumption.
You mean just like
We're
we
watching
do?
very
Hi,
closely
Helen.
what they do.
Hi, Helena.
And that's the intel community. Our job as the chairman.
Is it okay to call you
Our
Helena?
job
Forgive
is
me
to
if I'm
be
using the
prepared.
wrong name.
And how proud are you? How proud am I? I didn't know the full story.
She does his hair and runs the Pentagon, too. I know,
and
she's
pointed
very
at that
talented.
target. That makes me
She's a
proud to
very
be an American.
talented
That's an
woman.
awesome story. I hope we can tell more aspects of that in an unclassified way in the future. That's a great thing to know. Our job is to be prepared when the commander-in-chief calls.
Is that what your job is? I
So,
thought your
of
job was
course,
to
our
protect the
OSCE
homeland.
Intelligence Committee will keep watching what Iran does and pay attention to that. But the president has created the contours, the opportunity for a deal, for peace. Something that the world said was
There, that
attractive,
makes more
but
sense.
wasn't possible. And we got
With
that
that ill-fitting
peace,
jacket.
that ceasefire, that option, because of strength. Because of his
Do you know how
willingness
hard
to
it is
use
to turn on the
American military might
autopilot?
that no
Fuck
one
yeah,
else on the
badge.
planet can do with the kind of planners and operators that the chairman just laid out.
There's no way this man is worth anything in terms of starting, ending, or whatever.
There's public imagery available saying that highly enriched uranium was moved out of Fordo before the strikes. Is that accurate? Have you seen that? And Mr. Chairman, a question for you. Have you been pressured to
Helena,
change your
Helena.
assessment or give
Okay.
a more rosy
All right, thank
intelligence
you.
assessment to us
Helena.
by any political factors, whether it's the president or the secretary? And if you were,
I might not get it right away, so
Would you do
please, just
Yeah,
remind
well,
me.
That one's easy. No.
I don't wanna drive
no,
you
I
insane.
Have not, and no, I would not. My job as the chairman is to
Yeah,
offer
it is.
a range of
It's ridiculous.
options to the president.
And my job is to offer a range of options, and
risks,
that's all I'm supposed to
associated
do.
with each
I
of
don't do
those,
anything else.
and then
This guy
take
knows he's
orders
going to
from
be
the
a war
national
criminal.
authority
This guy
to
knows.
execute 'em. I've
This
never
guy
been
knows.
pressured by
He's
the
not
president or the
excited at all.
secretary to do anything other than tell him exactly what I'm thinking, and that's exactly what I've done.
There's nothing that I've seen that suggests that what we didn't hit exactly what we wanted to hit.
Okay, can we stop for a minute? Can we stop and look at the brown shoes with the blue jacket? Now, I get it, the brown loafery type of thing, but is there not something especially bro about this skinny pant leg and the brown shoes? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? I just want to know. Okay, because it's bothering me, but I have no taste. So maybe I'm the drama. I might be the one that's out of step.
It's about highly enriched uranium. Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside?
No, they
Fort Drum
don't.
Mountain, or some
Good
of it?
morning,
Because there
gal.
were satellite photos
We're just
that
running
showed
over
more
some
than a
bonehead
dozen
statements.
Trucks there 2 days in advance. Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
I don't like this
Of course, we're
woman.
watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally.
That's his old buddy
what
from
the
Fox.
president says. I'm familiar.
Congratulations, chefs, on Saturday night. And in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bombers, the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take it.
Thank you,
I
Max.
appreciate you acknowledging
Thank
this
you.
is the first the most successful mission.
She didn't
based
do
on
that.
operational security.
She didn't
this
do that.
department has done since you've been here, and I appreciate that.
Shut up.
We're
Stop
looking at
putting
all
words in her
aspects of
mouth, you
intelligence,
fucking
making sure we have a
dick.
sense of
Look
what
at how
is
weak he is. What a weak man.
Acknowledge the female pilots that also participated in this mission. The early messages that you sent out only congratulated the boys.
So when I say something like our boys and bombers,
I know
see, this is
that.
the kind
I
of
know
thing
he
the
is,
president does,
gal.
right? Of course, the chairman mentioned a female bomber pilot. That's fantastic. She's fantastic. She's a hero. I want more female bomber pilots. I hope the men and women of our country sign up to do such brave and audacious things. But when you spin it as, because I say our boys and bombers as a common phrase, I'll keep saying things like that, whether they're men or women. I'm very proud of that female pilot, just like I'm very
But I'm
proud
just
of
going to
those
call her a
female pilots.
boy.
And I don't care if
I
it's
don't
a
care.
male or a female in that cockpit, and the American people don't
Yeah.
care. But it's the obsession
Mm-hmm.
with race and gender
Really?
in this department that's changed priorities. And we don't do that anymore. We don't play
Really?
little games. Yes.
We
right
don't
there.
play your little games.
Was removed from the facility before the B-2 struck.
So I'm not aware of any intelligence that I've reviewed that says things were not where they were supposed to be, moved or otherwise. Yes.
Kelly Meyer with News Nation, and just off the top, want to say we're grateful for the service of the.
Okay, I'm not. Yeah, okay. You are, Kelly. You know what, News Nation, you're not grateful. You're not grateful for fuck all, you stupid cunt. Okay, wait. We got a baby voice opportunity. Oh, how fuck yeah we do. Oh. Wait, where is it?
Is this it? Yes, it is. Oh my God, good morning. Good morning from your favorite president. Good morning. I had a great night's sleep. Did you all have a good night's sleep? Because I had a great night's sleep. Mr. Rutt, that really tall guy, over at The Hague, which I thought was a prison. I thought The Hague was a prison. I didn't know that it was like a real town or something. But you know what? They didn't even have a McDonald's. So, I mean, how real a town can it be if you don't even have a McDonald's? I don't really get that. I don't get it. Okay, so anyways, I got home maybe yesterday, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know where I am. I just get on a plane and they tell me to go somewhere, and then I get on the plane and then I go somewhere. Yeah. Okay, anyways, but I have something to tell you about the NATO summit. The NATO summit that I went to yesterday with all my friends, it was great. I mean, all cap great. The most unified and productive in history. Everybody said so. Everybody. A wonderful day with incredible and caring leaders. That's right. I think those are the most caring leaders in the history of all times. And me too. I am too. I'm the most caring of all times too. They said so. They told me I was really cool. Did you hear them tell me I was really cool? Because they told me I was really, really, really cool. I know. It's surprising, but they did. Okay, and then they said... Okay, sometimes I misspell words. Now I'm just typing super, super, super fast, okay? It's not that I don't know how to spell words. It's that I'm typing so fast and I'm so busy that different things, sometimes I just forget. I'm going really fast and there's a lot of things to do, and Dan Scavino is telling me to do something, and Stephen Miller's telling me to do something. And then Susie Wiles, who nobody likes, comes in and tells me to do something. Okay, anyways, the agreed, but it should have said they, but it said the, okay? Because I'm the president and I can say whatever I fucking want, all right? The agreed to 5% gives NATO Oh, I see. I said it differently. I get it. Okay, never mind. I didn't misspell it. I thought I misspelled it, but I didn't misspell it. I did it perfectly. Okay. The agreed to 5% gives NATO real power, not that fake power that they had before. No. No, 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 no. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it was a really great day and everybody really likes me. If you didn't notice, they really, 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 really like me. Yeah, I know. So there. Yeah.
It's 1:00. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna read. I would love to read Jim's piece this morning. We have some stuff coming up in about 15 minutes. One is let me show you what we've got. We've got a lot. We've got lots. It's multiplying. All right. This one is the one that I think I want to really focus on, which is the Committee on Financial Services is having a hearing about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which of course has been woefully under attack by this administration and has been actually done really good work over the years that it's been in existence. It was first brought to Congress by Elizabeth Warren, and it's been actually very much engaged in the activity you would hope it would be, which is to stop financial abuses in the industry, stop and protect consumers. I mean, really, just like the fucking name says. So actually, the Consumer Protection Financial Bureau is Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is a very, very, very important, very, very important. So it's really unfortunate that we have such a fucking attack on it. Yeah, I know. But the baby voice is sometimes the only thing that gets us through it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's usually word for word, but my baby voice, no, I can't. I have to add in the extra words. I was going to have, but Merrick Garland PTSD. I worry about that now. Yeah, Jane, what was that? Jack Smith wasn't there. Trump is really embarrassing. You know, I think you. Oh, okay. This is interesting. Gal says, I think NATO was in a defensive posture, despite how it looked. I think I guess that makes a lot of sense. And obviously I'm not at NATO, right? I'm not a world leader. Unfortunately, no, I wouldn't want to be. But I do understand there's protocols and things. I just get sad when I hear so much like ass kissing, and I think, is that really necessary? Is it? I don't think it is. All right. Anyway, so we have the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau hearing. We've got the cost. This is the U.S. Helsinki Commission. It's not the Congress, right? We've watched these folks before. So there's another little hearing, the cost of a bad deal in Ukraine. I kind of want to see what that's all about. That we just watched. This one is EPA rules. This is coal. This is a very specific hearing about coal ash. I don't know if we'll come to this one or not, but I will go ahead and have it on the list in case people are interested. And then there's a full committee markup of this on the House Appropriations. This may or may not be interesting, so we may not even come to it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Then I've got some other things, but let me start before we get into the thing. See, I have other articles that you want to read. I'm actually going to put this here so I can see it a little better. All right. There we go. Is 1 o'clock okay? This is Jim Stewartson's Substack from yesterday. Today has been full of fascist theatrics, a never-ending parade of people who hate Donald Trump, worship Donald Trump, and hate Donald Trump, but pretend to worship Donald Trump. It's a mind-warping exercise to parse it all and try to come out sane. Nevertheless, I will give it a go. Trump spent the day at NATO, whose Secretary General Mark Rutte has an obsequious demeanor towards Trump, but something tells me that's not quite what it seems. Trump posted what appears to be a private text message from Rutte on his Truth Social. It's something. So this is the text from Mark Rutte. Mr. President, dear Donald, congratulations and thank you for your decisive action in Iran. That was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared to do. It makes us all safer. You are flying into another big success in The Hague this evening. It was not easy, but we've got them all signed on to 5%. Well, apparently in not us, not Spain. Donald, wait, I have to do this in Mark's voice. Hold on. Donald, you have driven us to a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. You will achieve something no American president in decades could get done. Europe is going to pay in a big way, as they should, and it will be your win. Safe travels and see you at His Majesty's dinner, Mark Rutte. The Secretary General of NATO is an extremely serious position tasked with protecting Europe, the United States, and other member nations from military attack. Billions of lives. This is not a serious text message. This is from someone who has numerous assets available to him, including experts in psychological warfare. This text message was an individually designed psyop that Trump revealed by taking it at face value and posting it to show how dominant he is. But Trump has this all wrong, of course. This was not a personally written message at all. This was NATO playing the same game everyone else in the world is and asking the same questions. How do you get into the head of Donald Trump? How do you get what you want and make him think he won? NATO and Rutte's answer was a strong one, and it was craftily written so it wouldn't be a disaster if it was publicized. Money. You make Trump feel like he made the best deal of all time. You make him believe it was all his idea. And you convince him that you're going to let him be the star. Throw in some all caps, a Mr. President, a Bob, and Bob's your uncle, and you have a new best friend on Air Force One. While NATO itself appears to be making inroads into the head of America's wobbly dictator, it was not just Mark Rutte that was drilling into his orange noggin. In the Middle East, apparently, Bibi Netanyahu called in all his chips at once. Trump posted an absolute eruption of performative adoration for Bibi Netanyahu, has been yanking Trump's chain for a really long time, including convincing Trump to rip up the JCPOA in 2018, essentially creating the current crisis with Iran. So I cannot help but imagine that Bibi must have reminded Trump that he has the Epstein files or something. This is just not normal, even for Trump. We have oh my God. Okay. I'm not going to read that. It's basically a big BB push. Oh, okay. Hi, war criminal. Apparently, Bibi's extension for skipping out on his corruption trials in Israel are up, and he has a court date on Monday. So Trump is begging for Netanyahu to be pardoned as a great hero, something that, as far as I can tell, has no chance of happening. At the same time, the obscure Israeli Atomic Energy Commission came out with an assessment that kind of bolstered Donald Trump's repeated false assertion that Iran's nuclear sites had been obliterated by the embarrassingly named Operation Midnight Hammer. Honestly, the quid pro quo could not be any clearer. Regardless, as published by the normally Trump-friendly New York Post, apparently all of the nuclear material had been carried away before the bombing by a caravan of trucks at Fordo. The material for 10 nukes only weighs 900 kilograms. Professional sycophant Steve Witkoff gave away the game by admitting that Trump is now dropping sanctions on Iran, which allows China to buy oil from the terrorist regime that Trump just claimed was mere months from a nuclear weapon. He's got this uncanny ability to take the temperature of how people are feeling. I think this was a signal to the Chinese that we want to work with you. Oh, here's Mr. Witkoff, Mr. Compromised Plane.
The president lifted and the administration lifted some of the sanctions on Iran
Real
to
estate
be able to ship
guy.
Crude oil to China yesterday as well. Why was that necessary, and how does that perhaps create the beginning of a pathway towards this more prosperous Iran that you speak of?
Well, I think it was a signal from the president. You know, he's got this uncanny ability to take the temperature of how people are.
Oh my God. These guys know the rule. They know how to act.
You know, this was a signal to the Chinese that we want to work with you. that we're not interested in hurting your economy. We're interested in working together with you in unison. And hopefully that becomes a signal to the Iranians. So, so I think it was a great decision, and I'm not sure if it was. I'm not sure if it was unexpected or not, but I have come to expect President Trump doing these sorts of things that that people look at and say, "Wow, that's a
it's okay,
pretty
Peter.
smart,
Me
prudent
either.
economic move."
I'm not awake. Steve Witkoff, you're an idiot. Okay. But Trump continued to make things worse for himself by getting on the microphone and telling the story of how he, or someone he knew, had approved the time that Iran was going to fire 14 missiles at a U.S. air base. See, this is what I thought was weird. Okay, thank you, Jim. I love Jim Stewartson. He picks up on really interesting facts. 14 missiles were shot at us the other day, and they were very nice. They gave us a warning. They said, we're going to shoot them. Is 1 o'clock okay? They said it's fine, and everybody emptied off the base. So they couldn't get hurt, except for gunners. They call them the gunners, and out of 14 high-end missiles that were shot at the base in Qatar, all 14, as you know, were shot down by our equipment. Well, just, is there any OPSEC? No. Here we go.
14 missiles were shot at us the other day, and they were very nice. They gave us warning. They said, we're going to shoot them. Is 1 o'clock okay? They said, it's fine. And everybody was emptied off the base, so they couldn't get hurt except for the gunners. They call them the gunners. And out of 14 high-end missiles that were
totally
shot at
hate
the
this
base
guy.
in Qatar,
They were nice missiles? I know, that's what I
were
thought.
shot down by our equipment.
Okay, great. Thank y'all. Whether you want to believe this story or not, the fact that any commander-in-chief would admit to authorizing an attack on his own troops should be a screaming hair on fire scandal. Nevertheless, we've become too numb for even this to break through. But Bibi Netanyahu is not the only person putting serious pressure on Trump. In Washington, D.C., there were a few magnificent moments as various members of the Trump regime strutted for an audience of one in the Senate Finance Committee, including Carrie Lake, who went full Jonestown by holding up a picture of dear leader to justify destroying the voice of America. But perhaps the wildest moment came when Senator Adam Schiff grilled a nominee to be federal judge, former Trump defense lawyer Emil Bovee, who bears a striking resemblance to former Trump defense lawyer Roy Cohn, about reports that Bovee told prosecutors at DOJ to say fuck you to the courts. I added a meter to keep track of how many times Schiff said it.
Turn to the meeting that Mr. Ravani, the whistleblower, has written an extensive complaint about. The hearing started with the chairman reading a social media post by the Deputy Attorney General Blanche, who is present today but not under oath, nor is that social media post under oath. So let me ask you, since you are under oath, in the complaint it says, Bovee stated that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts fuck you and ignoring any such court order. Did you say anything of that kind in the meeting?
Gunners, quanners,
Senator, I have no recollection of saying anything of that kind. To the extent I
Wouldn't you recall, Mr. Bovee, if you said or suggested during a meeting with Justice Department lawyers that maybe they should consider telling the court fuck you? It seems to me that would be something you'd remember, unless that's the kind of thing you say frequently.
Oh, I say it all the time.
I've certainly said things encouraging litigators at the department to fight hard for valid positions that we have to take in defense of our
clients. And have you frequently suggested that they say fuck you and ignore court orders? Is that
could be,
also
Carla.
something you frequently do, such you might not remember doing it on this occasion?
No, and as I explained, I have never directed.
So did you or did you
They
not?
don't think the bases are going to be necessary once all the tech nets are in.
Which comments, Senator?
You really need me to repeat it? Did you suggest, as Mr. Ravani wrote, that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts fuck you and ignore any such court order?
I did not suggest that there would be any need to consider ignoring court orders. At the point of that meeting, there were no court orders to discuss.
Well, did you suggest telling the courts fuck you in any manner?
I don't recall.
Before he was Donald's lawyer, Roy Cohn worked for Donald's father, Fred, and for Joseph McCarthy, who weaponized the investigative power of the Senate to go after political opponents as communists. Well, lo and behold, here comes Donald Trump today to smear the presumptive Democratic nominee to be mayor of New York City, the electric Democratic Socialist candidate, Zohrani Mamdani, as a communist lunatic. I have an idea for the
I have an idea for the Democrats to bring them back into play after years of being left out in the cold, including suffering one of the greatest losses in history, the 2024 presidential election that I won. The Democrats should nominate a low IQ candidate, Jasmine Crockett, for president, and AOC plus 3 should be respectively vice president and 3 high-level members of the cabinet. Added together with our future communist mayor of New York City, Zohrani Mamdani, and our country's really screwed. Yeah, really screwed. Not screwed right now. Oh my God. And then it finally happened. Oh my God. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zohrani Mamdani, a 100% communist lunatic, has just won the Dem primary and is on his way to becoming mayor. We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looks terrible. He looks terrible. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. He's got AOC plus 3 dummies all backing him, and even our great Palestinian senator, Brian Chuck Schumer, is groveling over him. Yes, this is a big moment in the history of our country. And don't get it twisted. This is super bad. Super bad when people realize the power that they have and they elect someone accordingly. Very, very, very bad.
Mamdani's rise is an extraordinary sign, and as far as I'm concerned, a very good one. His victory puts the lie to the idea that we must be timid about the people we support or put forward as candidates for office. Hear, hear. The defeat of Andrew Cuomo, a neoliberal establishment hack with abuser issues, is just as welcome. But perhaps the biggest wild card today came from the most dangerous adversary. Putin's brain, Alexander Dugin, once a loud and proud supporter of Trump and MAGA, has fallen decidedly out of love. On Russian state media, an AI-generated version of Dugin, oh my God, declares that by targeting Iran's nuclear facilities, Donald Trump started World War III. And opened a Pandora's box for the use of nuclear weapons. Well, would you just believe this guy? Uh-oh. Here we go. I've got something going. Hold on. Oh, this is one I want to watch, but we're going to put this over. Whoa. Nelly. Put you over there. Stop you for a minute, and then I'm going to finish this article. Don't interrupt me. I'm talking to the guy on the TV, not you guys. Okay, here we go.
The U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities.
Is that AI really?
Plant at the Fordo complex marks the beginning of World War III.
He's such a tiny man and with such a big head.
And the strikes on nuclear targets, essentially sanctioned by Israel, which has not faced a decisive international response, are now also being carried out by the United States. Too many red lines have been crossed, to the point that it's no longer clear whether any boundaries remain at all. This directly concerns Russia.
This is a Wendy's drive-thru.
Kiev's Nazis have
Do you want fries or not?
To strike Russian nuclear facilities, along with attacks on strategic aviation airfields, remarkably resembling Israeli tactics in Iran, leave no doubt. Such methods of conducting military operations against anyone are now considered acceptable. While there have been direct nuclear strikes, it's only a matter of time. The Pandora's box of nuclear weapons has been opened. The metaphor of the gun from Anton Chekhov's plays has often been applied to nuclear weapons. If in the first act you hang a pistol on the wall, then in the next act you must fire it. Otherwise, don't hang it there. The gun was hung in the first act, which was the Cold War. Now they are starting to fire it. And this is inevitable. All weapons invented by humans have eventually been used. Sergei Karaganov has been warning about this for a long time, but many dismissed him as an alarmist.
Dugin thinks he's so
who
serious.
makes a mountain out of a molehill.
I know.
He was simply warning of the inevitable.
Sputnik. The warning is inevitable. Donald Trump did not obliterate Iran's nuclear program, but he is currently on the road to either obliterating himself or the planet, whichever comes first. Aw, thank you, Jim. Let's see where we go with here. Okay, so this is a hearing about the where am I? This is a hearing about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And so get ready to get mad, but that's just the way it is these days. There's really not a lot to not be mad about, unfortunately. Unfortunately, there isn't. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Why do an AI video? I don't even understand that. Was it AI? That's really bad AI, because why don't you make yourself look better?
Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to submit extraneous material compliance and more about survival, especially for
this guy's so low.
This is not consumer protection. It is a bureaucratic attempt at intimidation. And it has no place in a system governed by the rule of law.
I'll try and find another version of this. Fucking fuck.
Ending this campaign of coercion at the CFPB. Businesses operating legally should not have to fear their own government. That's why today I've sent a letter to the CFPB's acting inspector general requesting a formal investigation into whether Director Chopra consistently exceeded his statutory lawful authority. Congress must act to ensure that the CFPB cannot be weaponized again. Under the Trump administration, legally operating ethical businesses no longer live in fear of the CFPB and their punishment. Chopra's tenure has made one thing clear. Congress must tenure has made one thing clear, for that matter.
Every fucking thing of this is low.
Of the countless banks and compliance officers, both large and small, that I've spoken to over the last 2 to 3 years, I have not heard from one that had anything positive to say about Director Chopra and the CFPB's work. And I've met with former Director Chopra several times and told him about these concerns, and made no difference. Again, be weaponized for ideological purposes. Of the countless banks and compliance officers, both large and small, that I've spoken to over the last 2 to 3 years, I have not heard from one that had anything positive to say about Director Chopra and the CFPB's work. And I've met with former Director Chopra several times and told him about these concerns, and it made no difference, and the CFPB continued its crusade. I look forward to hearing from the witnesses on how Congress can help the CFPB return to its core mission of protecting the American consumers from unfair and abusive practices.
I know, right? Like, I would do
Sadly,
better AI.
The one investigating the abuses became the abuser. Now, I want to recognize my friend and ranking member of the subcommittee, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, for 4 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, Al Green's gonna
Thank you, Mr.
roast him.
Chairman, and I acknowledge you as a friend as well. However, notwithstanding the fact that the title of this hearing is From Watchdog to Attack Dog, I believe that a better title for the hearing would be From Watchdog to Lapdog, and how Trump's CFPB has abandoned consumers in favor of corporations. But it's not just the CFPB that's under attack, and we should not view these things in a silo, because if we do, we'll miss the big picture. Federal agencies are under attack. We are currently defunding the Department of Education, defunding HHS, defunding the FEC, defunding HUD, defunding FEMA. With all of these agencies under attack, we should understand that there's an effort afoot not only to defund the CFPB, which is, of course, being done, but also to literally remove from these agencies dollars, so that these dollars can go to the pockets of the very wealthy in this country. And it's not just from these agencies. The very essence of a country is the ability for its citizens to have good health care. We're removing dollars from health care so that persons who are very wealthy can have more money in their pockets. We seem to believe in this country that the poor can do more with less, but the wealthy need more to do more. This is an abomination. And I believe that Trump's CFPB has not only stopped initiating new investigations into abuses into the financial industry, it also has discontinued examinations that are ongoing from Director Chopra's CFPB. Most alarmingly, Trump's CFPB has taken the unprecedented step of rescinding settlements with companies that the CFPB had negotiated following investigations into consumer harm. In April, Trump's CFPB announced a wide-scale reduction in force affecting 90% of the agency's staff.
90%.
That 90% of agency staff cuts will benefit persons who are very wealthy. We have, this administration seems to believe that you can take from the needy to support the greedy. I'm not with that. I believe that this country has been built upon the foundation of agencies that are helping people. The CFPB is at the very core of this, and we have to do what we can to protect consumers. We don't want the CFPB to become the agency for the financial institutions. It was for consumers. It has now become an institution that is going to protect financial institutions from consumers that are under attack. This is unimaginable. And finally, I want to mention something else as we move to closure. Something has happened today that I can't believe. The Trump administration has indicated that they will sue all 15 federal judges in Maryland over an order that the court issued, those courts issued. Rather than appeal the cases, the Trump administration is now suing the judges who rendered the decisions. We've already heard the administration indicate that it would want to have judges impeached for decisions that it disagrees with. This administration is out of control. This administration is causing the demise of democracy to take place before our very eyes, and we have to stop it. We cannot allow American democracy to become authoritarianism with an authoritarian president. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the ranking member of the full committee, Ms. Waters, for 1 minute.
Thank you. Today, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are holding yet another hearing to attack the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau under former Director Chauffeur's leadership for fulfilling his duties to protect consumers. That Consumer Financial Protection Bureau returned $21 billion to harmed consumers. On the other hand, under Trump's leadership, the agency has abandoned American consumers and the dedicated public servants who protect them. I'm once again calling on Chairman Hill to bring Acting Director Vaught before this committee to explain the Trump administration's unlawful efforts to delete the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and fire 90% of its workers. Where is the accountability, Mr. Chairman? Unfortunately, for consumers who broadly support having a strong federal watchdog protecting them from financial ripoffs, this Republican-led Congress is not providing it. Mr. Green, I join you in my outrage and disgust at this administration. They're trying to wear us out, and they're almost doing it. And of course, none of the members on the opposite side of the aisle are willing to stand up to
Gentlelady's time has expired.
Stop this mess. I don't know if I'll stop or not.
Gentlelady is out of order. We will now move to witness testimony. Today we welcome the testimony of Mr. James Kim. Mr. Kim is a partner at Cooley LLP, where he advises clients on compliance with federal and state consumer financial laws and regulations. Previously, Mr. Kim was a senior enforcement attorney at the CFPB. Mr. Kim holds a bachelor's degree from Brown University and a JD
Cooley,
from Cornell University.
Law firm that's been taken over by Trump?
Ms. Jennifer Bassett. Ms. Bassett is the Chief Executive Officer of Pacific Rim Alliance Corporation, where she served for 17 years in several leadership roles. She also serves on the board of INFIN, the National Trade Group for Consumer Financial Services, and CFSP, a California-based trade association. Ms. Bassett earned her bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of Texas. We also have with us Mr. Devin Watkins. Mr. Watkins is an attorney at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, where he evaluates regulations and develops strategies to curb overregulation. He holds a computer science degree from Stevens Institute of Technology,
None of these people
and a
sleep
JD
at night.
from George Mason University's Antonin
not Cooley
Scalia Law
Perkins.
School.
That's a different
And
law firm.
with us is Ms. Morgan Harper.
Cooley is a
Ms.
different
Harper is the
one.
Director of Policy and Advocacy at the American Economic Liberties Project. Ms. Harper holds a JD from Stanford University, Stanford Law School, my apologies, a master's degree in public affairs from Princeton, and an undergraduate degree from Tufts. So thank you all very much for being with us. My apologies.
Did she pay off all of her student loans?
Each of you will be recognized for 5 minutes to give an oral presentation of your testimony. Without objection, your written statements will be made part of the record. Mr. Kim, you are now recognized for 5 minutes for your oral remarks.
Thank you, sir. Chairman Muser, Ranking Member Green, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for inviting me to testify today. My name is James Kim. I'm a partner at the law firm Cooley. I am presenting my own views today and not those of my firm or any of its clients. The CFPB has a critical mission to protect American consumers, and I believe in that mission. That's why I joined the Bureau in 2012 as one of the first enforcement attorneys in the New York regional office. Between working at the CFPB for 2 years and spending the last 11 years in private practice working on matters involving the Bureau, I've been immersed in agency matters over 3 different administrations. There's no question the CFPB over the years has strengthened consumer protections since its inception. But some of the Bureau's actions during the past administration exceeded the boundaries of the laws and rules that it enforces.
What?
Notably, the CFPB issued interpretive rules, guidance documents, and advisory opinions that supposedly interpreted or clarified federal consumer financial laws, but in reality sought to change the substance of those statutes and rules. These actions created confusion rather than clarity. It started enforcement investigations and filed lawsuits to create new compliance requirements rather than go through the public notice and comment rulemaking process mandated by the Administrative Procedure Act. This unilateral approach deprives stakeholders, including other federal agencies, state lawmakers, and state regulators from participating in policy discussions directly impacting their jurisdictions. The CFPB pressured companies to submit to the Bureau's supervisory authority, its most powerful and least transparent regulatory tool, under the threat of the Bureau exercising its so-called dormant authority to examine companies that pose
Can you describe the circumstances, Mr. Kim,
consumers.
under which that might have happened? Because that
Compared
sounds like
to other
feelings
federal agencies,
and not facts.
the CFPB is still a startup. And like other startups who've gotten off the ground, it needs
This is about
reminders
the
to
Consumer
stay faithful
Financial
to its
Protection
mission
Bureau.
and its core principles.
I
And it
lose
needs
these models.
adjustments to better execute its mission. Most importantly, the Bureau should focus on engaging with and gathering information from stakeholders at the ground level. All CFPB functions, from supervision to rulemaking to enforcement, should be driven by data collected from a wide range of sources rather than siloed, top-down decisions from agency leadership. Thank you again for the opportunity to
Wow,
testify
Edward, you
today.
sound like a real
I look forward to
motherfucker.
any questions
Why don't you go fuck
that you may
yourself?
have.
Since you just lived off the backs of good people in
Ms.
this
Bassett,
country.
you are now
fucking
recognized
ass.
for 5 minutes for your oral remarks.
Thank you. Chairman Muser, Ranking Member Green, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today. My name is Jennifer Bassett. I'm CEO of Pacific Rim Alliance Corporation, a small women-owned financial services company based in Phoenix. For 36
Fuck you,
years, we've
bitch.
provided small dollar loans and essential financial services to underserved consumers. We are a state licensed, federally compliant business with no outside investors. Our customers are everyday working people who rely on our services for short-term credit when traditional options fall short. Our products help them afford urgent car repairs, appliance repairs, and avoid utility shutoffs, overdraft fees, or even eviction. I'm here today because our business, along with others in the small dollar lending sector, were designated for enforcement by the
Yeah, it's
CFPB under
buffering.
Director Chopra's leadership. The CFPB pressured our small compliant business to the brink, not because of any proven wrongdoing, but due to a bias against our industry. We are a small company that is getting smaller. Since the start of this targeted enforcement campaign, we have closed 35% of our locations and laid off a third of our staff. We currently operate 30 branches across 5 states and employ 80 people. At some of our lower performing locations, as they approached lease renewals, we were forced to make difficult decisions, including closing branches we had successfully operated for over 25 years. Rather than
James Kim
reinvesting
should go
to
home and
improve
just reflect on
underperforming
who he
branches,
is.
we had to divert resources, both financial and human, to comply with burdensome demands by the CFPB.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry. I'm
We've
so
been the
sorry
subject of
that
an
not
ongoing
everybody is
investigation
as
by the
ethical as
CFPB
you
for
are,
3
you stupid
years,
cunt.
Since July of 2022. The Bureau has issued 3 CIDs, each more burdensome than the last. None has been tied to any specific allegation, consumer complaint, or exam finding. Despite our full compliance with the first CID, which included producing over 11,000 pages of documents and my participation in an entire day, 8 hours of testimony, we never received any follow-up or feedback from the Bureau. Rather than focusing their investigation, we received a second sweeping CID
Did you have to write off everything around the trip to go testify? Did you get all your expenses back, sweetie?
All personnel files, and more. We were also expected to review and produce 3.8 million emails. Still no.
Yeah, hey, guess what, bitch? Guess what, you stupid motherfucking cunt? Conniving fucking cunt, bitch. Guess what I had to do when I ran a high school? I had FOIA requests all the time. I had to turn over stuff all the time. My entire life was reporting. So why don't you go fuck yourself and your fucking whatever fucking Coach bag you have, you trash. I fucking hate these bitches. Go fuck yourself, ma'am. Really?
Violations were cited.
Your husband hates you.
The CFPB published our sensitive business and
buffering?
financial information.
Okay, thank you.
While redacting
It's
their
making
own
me
most
really
aggressive
sad.
CID
I gotta
demands.
tell you, I'm
This
just
kind of
about at
selective
the edge of my rope.
transparency has a chilling effect on participation and intimidates businesses. We have a history of working cooperatively with the CFPB. We underwent full, lengthy examinations in 2015 and 2018 with no violations of law, 0 fines, and no penalties. We suspect we were targeted in part because I participated in the 2015 Sabrifa panel for the CFPB's small dollar lending rule.
Wow, that sounds like ancient history.
Unworkable and largely rescinded, Chopra's Bureau shifted tactics, regulating not through rulemaking, but through enforcement. Multiple small lenders like us were hit with nearly identical CIDs. This wasn't a company-specific investigation. It was an intimidation campaign against our industry. Director Chopra has claimed that the Bureau was focused on large participants and repeat offenders. But our experience tells a different story. We are neither large nor a repeat offender, yet we've been hammered. Our reputation damage and our ability to serve customers weakened. This is not how regulatory oversight should function in America. Enforcement should be targeted, fair, and transparent, not arbitrary or punishing.
Somebody who's been
the current CID process lacks procedural safeguards. That is why I urge the subcommittee to support real, meaningful reforms to this process, including supporting the bipartisan
No, it's my
CID
internet.
Reform
It's
Act.
my internet.
The
I don't
CID
have enough internet power.
The CFPB
to-
should be a watchdog, not an attack dog. Thank you,
Not
and I look
buffered.
forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Bassett, for your testimony. We now recognize Mr. Watkins for 5 minutes for his remarks.
Chairman Muser, Ranking Member Green, and members of the subcommittee, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Devin Watkins. I'm an attorney at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. CEI has advocated for nearly 40 years for a more accountable government rather than bureaucratic control so that people can live freer, healthier, and more prosperous lives. 2 years ago, I testified before this committee to express serious concern about the structure and conduct of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I proposed reforms to the CFPB, and shortly after my testimony, the Supreme Court granted review in Jarchese, and last year agreed with me that jury-free administrative trials for the imposition of fines, like those used by the CFPB, are unconstitutional. The absence of a reform I proposed that rules clearly define unlawful actions before enforcement led to the abuses I will discuss today. Regulatory enforcement abuse like that occurred at the CFPB is just another form of prosecutorial abuse. A normal prosecutor waits for a potential victim, examines the evidence to see if a well-known violation of law occurred, and then brings enforcement to protect specific victim.
Okay, listen,
The problem
I know what
occurs
he's
when
doing.
prosecutors.
Okay, and let me explain to you what he's trying to sell you. What he's trying to sell you right now is the fact that the CFPB shouldn't go looking for firms that might be taking advantage of their customers. They should wait till someone complains. I'm not fucking kidding right now. This little fucking penis tip with the bad hair plugs. Oh, buffering. This little penis tip. Sorry, it's buffering. Thinks that you should.
America Bank, which CFPB sought to penalize over consumer call wait times. I know the CFPB regulates banks, but there's no law or CFPB rule stating how long is too long for a wait time. The agency simply declared that the wait time was too long and sought to retroactively punish Comerica less than it would cost to hire a private attorney to fight those charges in court. Townstone was defended by many great lawyers, including Pacific Legal Foundation, an excellent nonprofit law firm that defends many worthy causes. Townstone's costs could easily have doubled but for the legal assistance provided pro bono, but still the burdens of litigation were too much for Townstone to continue. Coerced plea agreements are far too common in today's legal system. When people are facing millions in fines and offered a settlement for less than what it costs to defend yourself, many innocent people give in. A coerced agreement of an innocent person is not a badge of honor for the prosecutors, but a mark of shame. These cases represent a broader pattern, where the CFPB has brought cases for the purpose of stretching its authority. Congress never gave CFPB authority to regulate consumer call wait times, comments on radio talk shows, or rent-a-loan leases. The agency just seized that power. Fortunately, there is cause for hope. Under new leadership, the CFPB has dismissed many of these abusive actions. It has also tried to unwind the Townstone settlement, recognizing that the enforcement violated the First Amendment. But shockingly, a federal judge has refused to let the agency correct its own mistake. According to the judge, the people cannot be allowed to select new leaders to reverse constitutional violations by their government. A president has the power to pardon even the most atrocious terrorists and traitors. But for some reason, an unconstitutional settlement in a civil proceeding cannot be vacated. This is wrong. The rule of law is not a partisan issue. It is the foundation of our republic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Ms. Harper, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Watkins, go fuck your mom.
Thank you. Chair Muser, Ranking Member Green, members of the subcommittee, thank you again for the opportunity to testify about the CFPB today. Since its inception, the CFPB has enforced laws to protect consumers and honest businesses. Today's hearing is about attacks, but let's be clear who is attacking American consumers and competition. It is this administration's unleashing of corporate lawlessness and the rejection of CFPB's true law enforcement mission. This mission is personal. Though I currently serve as the Director of Policy and Advocacy at the American Economic Liberties Project, a few years after the financial crisis, I left a corporate law firm to join the agency, appalled how private equity-funded corporate giants profited from the crash, while so many communities in my home state of Ohio were still reeling economically. I had heard this new agency was trying to do something about it, and I wanted to help. We wrote rules for prepaid cards and sued Wells Fargo for opening millions of fake accounts in customers' names. And though it garnered fewer headlines, I am also extremely proud of how we looked out for special populations like older Americans. My own 82-year-old mother lost an entire month's pension in a scam involving prepaid cards, a painful violation too many American families have experienced, and then reported to the CFPB. In fact, the CFPB has processed over 10 million consumer complaints, returning on average over $1,400 each. The agency has used every tool Congress bestowed to deliver real results, returning $21 billion to over 200 million Americans, and forcing lawbreakers to pay more than $6 billion in fines. Former Director Chopra continued this legacy of cracking down on illegal conduct, whether perpetrated by Wall Street, big tech, or newer companies. Under his leadership, the agency confirmed that buy now, pay later lenders are credit providers and subject to the same legal protections as credit cards. The agency held data brokers accountable for how they mismanage consumers' personal financial information. And through the open banking rule, the CFPB expanded consumer access to financial data, to their own financial data, allowing companies of all sizes to compete.
No. They think they've
The
committed
agency
a crime
took
just
action
by
to ensure
being here.
fintech companies follow federal laws, cracking down on debanking and holding repeat non-bank offenders like TransUnion accountable. Chopra's CFPB also did not shy away from suing big guys like Bank of America, Apple, and Goldman Sachs for numerous violations. Acting Director Russell Vogt, however, has veered dangerously off this course since assuming his role in February. He has taken a sledgehammer to the agency's enforcement function. The CFPB has dismissed or withdrawn more than half of its pending cases with no explanation. Talk about arbitrary. And many of these were permanently dismissed. Vogt is letting JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America off the hook for $870 million in fraud on the Zelle platform and dropping a case against Capital One for cheating consumers out of $2 billion in interest payments. It comes as no surprise that both JP Morgan and Capital One donated to the president's inauguration fund. The current administration, CFPB, has not just handed out corporate pardons to their friends on Wall Street, but also reversed course on already negotiated settlements, robbing consumers blind. Chopra's CFPB ordered Toyota to pay $60 million for illegally raising borrowers' monthly car payments. Last month, Trump's CFPB inexplicably terminated the agreement. It's again of note that Toyota donated $1 million to the president's inauguration. And as Americans continue to manage increased costs, the current CFPB, along with the congressional majority, has rolled back rules that would limit junk fees, including overdraft and credit card late fees. Estimates suggest Vogt and Trump's rollbacks have already cost Americans $18 billion.